So who are you?
I'm MZ, owner of KSCO AM 1080.
And you're one of the last independent radio operators.
I'm proud of it.
Proud of it.
Yeah.
Because most of the other, you own this radio station. This is pretty cool. Let's go out and look at the radio tower. So this is a 10,000 watt.
Yeah, it's a 10,000 watt news talk station, but because of where our towers are planted in a lagoon.
Let's go look at that.
Oh, we can go do that. Actually, come on, we'll see it. We'll see it live.
Oh, cool.
We'll see it better than through to the computers and our servers and stuff like that.
So what's this down here?
This is the transmitter room.
Oh, wow.
We have two radio stations. That box to the rightmost box is our 10,000 watt KSCO AM 1080 transmitter.
Yeah.
Over here, this little blue, this one on the opposite end, the gray box, got a brand new transmitter for our 1,000 watt oldies radio station, KOMY. That's automated. That's all satellite driven. We don't have, I think we have one live show a weekday on that we originate from here. Everything else comes in off the satellite.
Very cool.
The business office where they schedule the commercials and make sure they get produced. Here's what KSCO used to look like, in 1947 when it was first put on the air.
Wow.
And that's that room where you were just filming right here. You were just filming right here over Nikki's shoulder.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We'll go into the transmitter.
Now, when did you buy this station?
Bought the station in January 31st, 1991.
Wow.
So we just celebrated our 18th anniversary of the station coming back into local ownership and operation. Because we bought it from a bigger company that had bought it from the local newspaper people who had it.
Yeah. Should I close the door?
You don't need to.
Okay.
Here's the transmitter room. And it's sort of like a museum of broadcasting here. We have records that are literally over 50 years old and have never even had the wrapping,
Wow.
It's still in the original wrap. In the 50s, when I was growing up, radio's big weekend bargain parade, departmental themes, save for the family, time 37 seconds, hot buying tips for today, time 30, telephone specials, time 35 seconds, radio's voice of fortune, musical trademarks, themes, promotion jingles, and so forth. We don't even know what's on it. We don't even have the people to even sit with a turntable and hear this stuff. It's magic. It's stuff that you never hear anymore. We have this museum full of this stuff that came with a radio station. I wish we could do something with it.
That's crazy.
So anyhow, when I was a kid growing up, the station was programmed by musical transcriptions. These are extra large 33 1/3 RPM records. You need special turntables to play these things. And we have these turntables. They're in storage. Came with the radio station. And here's our computer. Here's the computer system from back then.
Yep.
We have literally thousands of these transcriptions in all these bins back here. And this was the guide to finding what you wanted to play.
Wow.
So.
A bygone era of radio, huh?
Yeah, really.
So we're gonna go out and look at the.
Go outside and look at the. Here we are. Now we've got some light. And the radio station property is about 3/4 of Corcoran Lagoon here in Santa Cruz. It connects to the Pacific Ocean.
Yep.
And
so it's low tide right now.
Yeah, very, very low tide. Tomorrow, the water level could be 8 feet higher than it is today, right now.
Yeah.
You just never know. 6 hours from now, it could change. And I don't know if it's a combination of the tide or how much water runoff there is from the storm from Rodeo Creek. But if you look out here, you'll see that these towers were erected on Corcoran Lagoon for a very special reason. When you have an AM station, there's two components to the AM signal. There's a ground wave component and a skywave component. Okay? With FM and with TV, there's only a skywave component, which means that's why TV stations and FM stations are always on high mountaintops.
Yep.
With AM, it's just the opposite. I mean, you could be on a mountaintop. It doesn't need to be. But oftentimes, you will get your best signal and best coverage where your ground signal is the greatest. And the ground signal is always going to be where the ground is more moist. And what could be more moist than water?
Yeah.
Right? And there's only one thing that's better than water, and that's salt water. Now, this isn't total salt water. It's half salt water and half fresh water, so it's brackish.
Yeah.
So we're not quite as good as the best, but we're pretty close. The engineers,
How long have these towers been here?
since 1947.
Wow.
2 of them, anyhow. A third was added in 1968. And
What does the electricity cost to run one of these? To run a 10,000 watt TV station?
About a radio. It's
Not radio station, sorry.
probably $2,500
A month.
Yeah, currently, just for the transmitter. You know, that doesn't count the operation of the building and so forth. I don't even know what that is, but
Yeah. And then you have employees, so it's a lot. Electricity is probably a minor part of your budget.
it's up there. I mean, look, you can run a radio station for a lot less than I choose to run this. I don't even want to be in the business unless I can have a radio station with a heart and a soul and a personality. Just about every radio station left in the country is corporate owned and is in actuality a computer, a computer in a closet somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, that's just controlling feeds that come in from the satellite and injecting local commercial recordings. And that, to me, that's not broadcasting. That's not radio. And I realize there aren't too many people like me left, and I think that's sort of sad. But I'm looking forward to jumping over to where you are, Robert, you know, in the world of new media and bringing that kind of a mentality or that kind of a content base to new media, because, you know, just because bandwidth is inexpensive,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, you know, anything that you put on it is going to be attractive to people. I mean, you want to put out some quality stuff, which I know you do because you go around interviewing interesting people.
Well, and also my audience tells me whether something's interesting or not. You know that by the next hour
Instantly.
because you
Instantly.
get to see who showed up and
Yeah.
who, you know, which ones of your videos got dug or got onto a tech meme or memorandum or something like that.
Right.
And so you can see what the conversation is that
You know,
this
it's
caused.
interesting because it's much more. You can go to the bank with that kind of data.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really go to the bank with the similar kind of data that I've had here available here to me for years. What you say, the feedback that you talk about, we have here, we've always had with real-time talk radio. I don't even want to be in the radio business unless it's talk radio where I can interact with the audience. So here's an old media ultimate interaction with the telephone. It's been around for many, many years, 40, 50 years now, talk radio. But what I use to measure about the quality of my content is the call volume. If I look down at the board and I see that the phones are loaded up, I know that I'm putting out something that's interesting.
Yeah.
Some people have said to me, MZ, you shouldn't gauge the effectiveness or the quality of your broadcast by the number of phone calls. You could have it could be just the opposite. You could have someone who's so riveting that they want to listen to every word and they don't want to interrupt anything.
Yeah.
But I believe the former. I believe that if you're putting out something that's really interesting, that's really captivating and compelling, you know, you're going to know by the number of lights that are blinking on your phone board.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that a whole lot better with technology.
Well, underneath this video will be comments, or it'll start a friend feed item, it'll start a Twitter thing, it'll start a thing on Facebook, and people can comment right underneath the video and go, hey, why didn't you ask him this, or what, you know?
Right.
And that's always a lot of fun, because then you can come along and say, oh, here's the answer to
Right.
that question, and start a
yeah.
conversation, but it's the engagement that really tells me that somebody liked what we put up.
Well, and for years since they've had video streaming and podcasting, I've thought, gee, I mean, my days are numbered, you know, in radio, in broadcast radio. But you know, that isn't true. I mean, it's just I just need to embrace the new technologies, and who would not want to anyhow? It's so friggin' exciting.
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know. I'm really.
I think it's interesting to combine the old media and the new media together,
Why not?
because you got a 10,000 watt radio transmitter here. You know, all these-
Check out the bomb shelter. This is a bomb shelter that was built by FEMA in the early 60s, because KSCO we're the most powerful station in the Monterey Bay area, AM or FM. You can pick us up in the various nooks and crannies and canyons where you can't pick up any other station. I understand that we're the only radio station, AM or FM, that you could pick up in Big Sur.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so because of that coverage, the federal government designated us as the emergency broadcast station for the Monterey Bay area in the early 60s, and they built us this bomb shelter. I didn't own the station then, but that's what this is. It's 18 inches at least of concrete, maybe 2 feet of concrete, floors, walls, ceilings, and it's literally a bunker in there, and we have a studio. We are using that studio, our 5th studio. We have 4 upstairs in the main part of the station, and 1 studio down in the bomb shelter that we use for our network operation. Yes, we have a network. Yeah. We have a network where we produce and distribute to about, I don't know, 60 or 70 other
The problem is, if there was really a bomb that was nearby here,
yeah,
wouldn't your towers go down?
That's right.
Would you be able to broadcast?
That's right. Well, I think what they were worried about back then is radioactive. You know, you're probably not old enough to remember the days of bomb shelters.
I do. My
but
mom had a bomb shelter in Montana, actually.
Well, my understanding is what bomb shelters are for, are to protect you from the radioactive fallout from a bomb that was dropped way far away. Now, sure, if they're going to drop a bomb right here, it's going to vaporize our towers and transmitters and probably building.
Yeah.
Maybe even including the bomb shelter. I don't know, depending upon the bomb. But inside this bomb shelter, what we have right now is a state-of-the-art broadcast facility that is separate from KSCO, and we actually produce every day at 12 noon a program. It's an alternative health program called Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and the purpose of that show is to educate people about the importance of having a basic personal understanding about health and nutrition, so that you can take charge of your own health and not depend upon doctors and the medical industrial complex and the pharmaceutical companies that manufacture drugs that oftentimes have more side effects that are worse than the original disease, you know.
Yeah.
So we want people to be educated and empowered, and we put out this program that started on KSCO, and it was very successful, so now we go out to 60 or 70 other radio stations, and we produce it here in the bomb shelter. It gets uplinked, you know, to the satellite, and then it gets, you know, fed via satellite to all our affiliates, and we're one of them. So that's inside this bomb shelter.
So what are these dishes for?
These are satellite dishes to bring in the various satellite signals, even our own satellite signal for the program that we produce, but most of the time they're in use to bring in syndicated programs that we have on.
Yeah. So you're a Fox, I heard Fox News,
Fox
that's
News.
Coming over the satellite?
Exactly. Fox
Okay.
News is, and one of these dishes, I forget which one, is connected to the Fox News radio feed. And they give us a 5-minute newscast at the top of the hour, and I think a 3-minute newscast at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah.
And we plug into those through that. And so all our we like to originate as much of our own programming as possible.
Yeah.
And currently we're probably at half and half, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd like to be at 100% local. I'd like to depend not on bigger companies at all, but we're not there yet. Hopefully someday we'll be there.
Very cool.
So, yeah. Gee, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
No, that's true.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite expressions.
Are there any other guys like you, or is everybody else sold out to the big clear
There are
channels?
probably some smaller stations. You know, I'm sure there are independent owners and operators around.
You serve what, about 1 million people in the Santa Cruz and Monterey Bay area?
Probably. You know, our coverage area, we cover about 5 or 6 million people. Actually, you can actually receive our signal, but you know, through maybe half of that, probably the signal isn't. It's sort of scratchy, so you wouldn't normally want to. Although some of our programs are so unique. You know, maybe you and I will do a program someday that'll be really unique, that'll make people, even if they have to listen, you know, through scratchiness, they might want to. But with technology, you know, these days, and with the proliferation of WiMAX, I mean, as soon as WiMAX is available faithfully in moving vehicles or some subsequent technology, you know, we really, transmitter, who needs a stinking transmitter? I mean, we're almost there now.
Yep.
You know,
That's
but you're
Adam Ki-
always going to need good content.
That's
You're
Adam
always-
Curry's famous line
Yeah.
on his show. Transmitters? We don't need no
Exactly.
stinking
That's where I-
We don't need no any of these transmitters.
He's right on. That's where I got it. I sort of borrowed it from him. So thanks for giving credit. We don't need no stinking transmitters. And he borrowed that line from Al Jasbo Collins. Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
Yeah.
And Al Jasbo Collins was a friend of mine. I brought him down to the station right after I bought it in '91, and he did this tour just like you're doing right
Yeah.
now. So I don't have the key to that bomb shelter. They won't let me have it because they don't want anybody touching anything down there
No, that's cool.
for this network thing. But
Well, thanks so
anyhow,
much
yeah,
for a little
thanks
tour.
for coming down.
Thank you.